Once again, Christian greetings to all our valued listeners and viewers throughout the whole world. Even more particularly to all Shepherd's Rod believers and most especially to our beloved brothers and sisters in the United States of America. Special greetings to our brethren in Colorado, in Georgia, in Kansas, in Chicago, Illinois, in Texas, Missouri, Fiji Island, Mexico, Spain, Africa, Kenya, Pakistan, to the United Kingdom, and also to our brethren in Australia, and to the rest of the 144,000 living saints scattered abroad. Greetings. May the good Lord bless you, brothers and sisters. This is our special episode concerning the beast and its image, and it is episode number 2. Now, concerning the message of the third angel, there are only two main subjects. First, concerning the mediation of Christ in the heavenly sanctuary, or Christ's mediatorial work in the heavenly sanctuary, according to the great controversy, 435. Those who had accepted the light concerning the mediation of Christ and the perpetuity of the law of God found that these were the truths presented in Revelation 14. The messages of this chapter constitute a threefold warning, which is to prepare the inhabitants of the earth for the Lord's second coming. And secondly, points out to the mark of the beast, according to volume 6 on page 17. So, it says here, and volume 6, page 17, the light we have received upon the third angel's message is the true light. The mark of the beast is exactly what it has been proclaimed to be. Not all in regard to this matter is yet understood, nor will it be understood until the unrolling of the scroll. Volume 6 on page 17. To repeat again, the beast revelation cometh from God, and it is the chosen medium of God to completely unmask the satanic scheme. And in this study, we call it complete satanic scheme. So, through the symbolization of the beast, according to 2SR, on page 10, so let's read again the statement. While the enemy has succeeded in confusing the written word of God, God lightens the earth with His glory by these symbolic revelations. It is pointing to the beast. Symbolic revelations. And by which He discloses the entire truth and uncovers the traps of the devil. Thus, through types and symbols, He makes wise the simple and confounds the prudent by showing that where there is no type, there is no truth. So, in this paragraph, there are two chosen medium of God to defeat the enemy, to completely uncover the traps of the devil. And it is through symbols and types. And at the same time, completely reveal the entire truth of the plan of redemption. So, logically, the beast revelation is a revelation to portray to God's people how such complete satanic scheme been able to overthrow the knowledge concerning Christ's mediatorial work in the heavenly sanctuary. And Apostle Paul and also Alonzo Jones call it the mystery of iniquity. Now, I would like to read here on the Consecrated Way to Christian Perfection on page 104. The time of finishing the mystery of God. But that imposture is not to last forever. Thank the Lord. This great truth of the priesthood, the ministry, and the sanctuary of Christianity is not to be hid forever from the eyes of the church in the world. The mystery of iniquity arose and so hid from the world the mystery of God, that all the world followed its wandering. Revelation 13, verse 3 and 4. But the day comes when the mystery of iniquity shall be exposed. The same with the statement in 2SR page 10. To uncover the traps of the devil. But the day comes when the mystery of iniquity shall be exposed, and the mystery of God in its own truth and purity shall shine forth once more, never more to be hid, but to accomplish its great purpose and be completely finished. For it is written that in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the promise. Revelation 10, verse 7. And reading again the statement saying, it says, brethren, number 19, it says, that is, if we can gather any idea of what the watchman means, the angel of chapter 10 is the seventh angel. His message is the sum total of the three messages. And the last message of the seventh angel is the third angel's message. The last part of this last message is the promulgation of the doctrine of life and death. So concerning the seventh angel in Revelation 10, verse 5, 6, and 7, his message is the complete unfoldment of the message of the third angel. What is the message of the third angel? Christ's mediatorial work in the heavenly sanctuary. And second, through the message of the third angel, completely unmasks, uncovers the traps of the devil, and the chosen medium of God to uncover the traps of the devil is through and by the symbolization of the beast. And that is our main subject, brothers and sisters. And of course, the symbolization of the beast is represented by a system. According to 2SR page 86, here in 2SR page 86, it says, as they are absent from the beast of Revelation 13, verse 11 to 18, it verifies the fact that the two-horned beast denotes a local system. And in the next paragraph, it says, inasmuch as the lion, the bear, the four-headed leopard, and the nondescript beast, the symbols of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome, are linked to each other, the unbreakable chain of beasts make it impossible for another universal beast, meaning system. So in this study, we can easily discern that there are two systems employed by the devil, Satan, to deceive God's people. And it is through local system, and it is also through the universal system, represented by the beast. But all in all, it is called complete satanic scheme. Now let us read again the statement in 1SR, page 214. It says here, 1SR, page 214, it says, the intention of the complete satanic scheme is to deceive the whole world. The statement made by Christ is true, that he, Satan, will try to deceive even the very elect. That is the 144,000, if it were possible. The spirit of prophecy, speaking on this scripture, says, this demon worship was revealed to him, to John the Beloved, and it seemed to him as if the whole world were standing on the brink of perdition. But as he looked with intense interest, he beheld the company of God's commandment-keeping people, testimonies for the church, Volume 6, page 15. So, the voice of inspiration plainly telling us that the intention of such complete satanic scheme employed by the devil is to deceive the whole world, and if possible, even the very elect. The 144,000 living saints, plainly indicating that such complete satanic scheme is employed by the devil at the time when the 144,000 living saints are all in existence. Because it is illogical that he would deceive the very elect, the 144,000 living saints, at the time when they did not even in existence. So, here, brothers and sisters, the focal point of this message of the third angel, by which the shepherd's rod declared clearly on General Conference Special on page 39, saying, in fact, the three angels' messages are applicable to the judgment for the dead only indirectly. For the judgment for the living is the all-important event. That is, the angel is not sent particularly to explain what the judgment does to the dead, but what it is to do to the living. So we see that the more we consider the subject, the more obvious becomes the truth that the third angel's message in its final phase is the judgment for the living, the harvest. Plainly, then, the work of Elijah is to give light on the judgment for the living. General Conference Special on pages 39 and page 40. So that reading can be easily understood that the living mentioned there is the 144,000 living saints. So the message of the third angel is directly addressed to the 144,000 living saints, brothers and sisters. Now, I would like to read again the statement given by the voice of inspiration. Let's read. It says here, brethren, that let's read the statement. It says, number 77. Therefore we ask, what danger will there be that men will worship the beast at a time when there will be none for them to worship? God will never send an angel to warn men against the worship of the beast when he does not exist. We know the angel mentioned here is messenger in General Conference Special, page 39 and 40. So the voice of inspiration says that God will never send such messenger to warn men against the danger. What danger? To worship the beast. that God will not send such message if such beast did not as yet in existence. Here in another statement, number 79, it says, the third angel gives us warning of the danger which is now before us. The warning precedes the danger that we by seasonable admonition may make our escape. So that is very logical. The same with the statement in general in 1SR Pocket Edition, page 9 and page 10. 1SR Pocket Edition, pages 9 and page 10, it says, any thinker knows that to have known the truth of it before time would have left it as vain, valueless, and ineffective as would making known the truth about the image of the beast years before or a minute after it does its deceptive work. But at the striking of the foreordained hour, the time inspiration unlocks the mystery. All can behold the truth and profit by it. Happily, we can then intelligently strive to be among this guileless company and can be sealed with them if we sincerely and steadfastly follow on to know the truth on time. 1SR Pocket Edition on pages 9 and page 10. Now, ponder deeply, brothers and sisters. The voice of inspiration is plainly telling us that God would not send the warning to avoid worshiping the beast if such system, because the beast represents system, if such system did not as yet in existence. The mere fact that the message of the third angel is directly applied in the judgment for the living rather than for the dead, according to our reading in Joint Conference Special, page 39 and 40, plainly indicating that such system will be in existence in the period of the judgment for the living. And in order for God's people to escape such deception, such trap, God revealed it through the message of the third angel. If such deception is apparent, then there will be no need for God to reveal such deception. But the absolute fact is that they hide it in the darkness. The prophet says in volume 5, I would like to read that reading. Volume 5, page 452, it says, while men are sleeping, Satan is actively arranging matters so that the Lord's people may not have mercy or justice. So while men are sleeping, remember, brothers and sisters, in the parable of Matthew 25, both the foolish and wise virgins are asleep. That is very plain in the parable. And according to SR, it says here, 181. Let's read. 2SR 181. Note that they slumbered and slept before the cry was made. So, both the foolish virgins and the wise virgins are slumbered and slept according to the parable. And during that time, according to volume 5, page 452, it says, while men are sleeping, Satan is actively arranging matters so that the Lord's people may not have mercy or justice. The Sunday movement is now making its way in darkness. The leaders are canceling the true issue, and many who unite in the movement do not themselves see whether the undercurrent is tending. Volume 5, page 452. So that is very plain that Satan hides it in the dark. Here's another statement that I would like to read in the Old Symbolic Code. It says here, Old Symbolic Code, 2 Symbolic Code, number 1, pages 9 and 10. 2 Symbolic Code, number 1, pages 9 and 10. It says, the only thing that would compel him to pass blue Sunday laws and go to make war with the remnant of her seed, with those that are left, Revelation 12:17, is the purity of the church. When God, by the slaughter weapons of Ezekiel 9, takes away the tares which received not the mark, and even then Satan will not enact blue Sunday laws until after he has exhausted every other weapon against the church. Therefore, as long as the church remains in her present Laodicean condition, there will be no blue laws or war against her, but a bluff only to make her members believe that they are free from his snares and that he is still trying to cause them to fall. But the worst of it all is in that they are sound asleep, which is shown by the fact that they still think Satan is working terribly hard to fulfill God's word by trying to pass blue laws and are not aware that he is only playing with them as a cat with a mouse. And the brethren to whom the Lord has entrusted the spiritual interest of the people, testimonies for the church, volume 5, page 211, instead of sounding the alarm to arouse the church, are determined to even silence the voice of the rod, and thus rocking her to a more sound sleep. To Symbolic Code, number 1, pages 9 and page 10. The paragraph can be easily understood that as long as the 144,000 living saints are still asleep, there will be no implementation of the Sunday law. But this is the thing, brothers and sisters, that we need to understand. First, I would like to read White House Recruiter. White House Recruiter on pages 24 and page 25. He says, "Here let every serious-minded reader pause to ponder what inspiration says. Verses 19 and 20 explain that those who escape the slaughter of verses 15 and 16 are to be sent as missionaries to the Gentiles who as yet know not God. Hence, these escaped or remaining ones are God's remnant. Here's His first fruits of the harvest, His guileless servants, the 144,000, the elect. And only they, none others, the scriptures declare, shall bring all their brethren from all nations in a clean vessel into the purified house of the Lord, His white house." What is more, no right-thinking mind can even begin to conceive of the possibility that with any less holy and formidable an agency than such a mighty ministry, one escape from sin, sinners, and judgment can and will the Lord ever finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. Romans 9 verse 28. Thereby saving His people from the terrible tempest that is now about to break upon the earth and last its length and breadth. Satan grimly knows this. He knows his time is short and growing fearfully shorter. He knows that this faithful ministry are soon to be disclosed to view and to take the field against him. He knows that that will be his Waterloo. Hence, his supreme effort now to eliminate them. Finding out at last, though, that he cannot do so, his consequent aim will be to bring the time of trouble such as never was, Daniel 12 verse 1, in hope of destroying all. So that is the statement in White House Recruiter, page 24 and 25, plainly indicating, my dear brothers and sisters, that the first aim and goal of Satan is he tried to the utmost of his ability that if possible, that last ordained ministry, the 144,000 living saints, if possible, that it should not exist. Because he knoweth that if that ministry would be in existence, that would be his Waterloo. But at the time when Satan find out that he failed, brothers and sisters, he failed to deceive the very elect, the 144,000, he immediately, as fast as possible, to implement such system, the mark of the beast system, in hope to destroy all. At the time when the 144,000 were not as yet protected. And that is the reason why Jesus Christ commanded the four angels to hold the four winds. Meaning, to hinder Satan of such implementation. Because at that time, the 144,000 are not yet fully protected. Now, I would like to read track number 8. Track number 8. On page 22. Track number 8, page 22. It says, accordingly, God's restraining of the four winds. What is the four winds? That is the mark of the beast system. So it is illogical to hold the four winds if the mark of the beast system did not as yet in existence. Well, I would like to say that we know Satan is wise. That is the description in the Bible. The serpent is wise. The devil already prepared. He arranged the matters concerning the mark of the beast system at the time when the 144,000 are still sleeping. But he will not implement that mark of the beast system as long as the 144,000 are still sleeping. No need. But at the time when Satan recognized the fact that the 144,000 living saints, brothers and sisters, are awakening, then he moved very fast that if possible, that four winds, the mark of the beast system that had been arranged by Satan in the period while the 144,000 are still sleeping, must be implemented at the time when the 144,000 are not as yet protected. But God intervened. Jesus Christ commanded the four angels to hinder such implementation, to hold the four winds. Now let us read again the statement here in track number 8, page 22. It says, accordingly, God's restraining of the four winds is holding back, you see, holding back the image of the beast activity. So what is the representation of restraining the four winds? Holding back the image of the beast activity. Track number 8 on page 22. And in page 21, it says, track number 8, page 21. I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth at the time of the sealing of the 144,000. When does the four angels stand on the four corners of the earth to hold the four winds? In the period of the sealing of the 144,000 living saints. Now, let us connect the vision of Sister White in early writings. Page 38. It says, I saw four angels who had a work to do on the earth and were on their way to accomplish it. Jesus was clothed with priestly garments. He gazed in pity on the remnant, then raised his hands, and with a voice of deep pity cried, My blood, Father, my blood, my blood, my blood. Then I saw an exceeding bright light come from God, who sat upon the great white throne, and was shed all about Jesus. Then I saw an angel with a commission from Jesus, swiftly flying to the four angels who had a work to do on the earth, and waving something up and down in his hand, and crying with a loud voice, Hold, 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 until the servants of God are sealed in their foreheads. I asked my accompanying angel the meaning of what I heard, and what the four angels were about to do. He said to me that it was God that restrained the powers, and that he gave his angels charge over things on the earth, that the four angels had power from God to hold the four winds, and that they were about to let them go, but while their hands were loosening, and the four winds were about to blow, the merciful eye of Jesus gazed on the remnant that were not sealed, and he raised his hands to the Father and pleaded with him that he had spilled his blood for them. Then another angel was commissioned to fly swiftly to the four angels and bid them hold until the servants of God were sealed with the seal of the living God in their foreheads. So we explained it several times that why is it that Jesus Christ called them remnant? At the time when they were not yet sealed, by which Jesus Christ pleaded to God the Father to hold the four winds. Why? Because the remnant were not yet sealed. Why is it that they are called remnant? Let us read again the statement in 1 SR 102. The definition of remnant is that which is left after the separation, removal, or destruction of a part. 1 SR 102. But for sure, it is called remnant because they are the remnant that have been left written in the Lamb's Book of Life after the removal of all the names of the wicked. As declared in 1 TG number 6, page 38, it says, it is obvious that they escape the destruction of the sinners in the church. Only the holy ones, those whose names are left written in the book, escape the destruction that falls upon the wicked in the church. Only they constitute the remnant, the ones that are left. 1 TG number 6, page 38. So in this chronological order of events, we can easily discern that immediately after all the names of the wicked are completely blotted out in the Lamb's Book of Life, or after the Lamb's Book of Life is completely cleansed, at that time, the mark of the beast system is already in existence. And that is the reason why Jesus Christ pleaded God the Father to hold the four winds, because the names that have been left in the Lamb's Book of Life, they were not as yet protected on the earth. So, when God the Father responded or accepted the pleading of Jesus Christ, immediately the angel flies to this earth, and he waved something up and down in his hand. That is the names of the 144,000 which were not yet sealed, not yet protected, brothers and sisters. Now, let us now concentrate on the subject concerning the mark of the beast system that was already in existence, brothers and sisters, before that last and final day of atonement, or before that Lamb's Book of Life will be completely cleansed, brothers and sisters. So let us now gradually study this very important subject. Now, I would like to read again the Great Controversy. It says here, 449, the Great Controversy 449. It says, the most fearful threatening ever addressed to mortals is contained in the third angel's message. That must be a terrible sin which caused down the wrath of God unmingled with mercy. Ezekiel 9, brothers and sisters, the slaughtering in Ezekiel 9, it is unmingled with mercy, as well as the 7 last plagues. That's the reason why God Himself declared in Ezekiel chapter 9. Let us read. Ezekiel chapter 9 on verse 5. It says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. So it is unmingled with mercy. Because God commanded, let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Now let us read again the statement in the Great Controversy, 449. The most fearful threatening ever addressed to mortals is contained in the third angel's message. That must be a terrible sin which caused down the wrath of God unmingled with mercy. Why is it that it is called terrible sin? Because the voice of inspiration categorized it as demon worship. 1 SR 214, volume 6, page 15. That is a terrible sin, brothers and sisters. Demon worship, or acknowledging, brothers and sisters, paying homage to the devil. Now, it says, men are not to be left in darkness concerning this important matter. The warning against this sin is to be given to the world before the visitation of God's judgments, that all may know why they are to be inflicted and have opportunity to escape them. So that is the purpose, to give opportunity to escape them. Now, here in the Great Controversy 438, let us read again the statement saying, A correct interpretation, I would like to read the upper part. It says, in contrast to those who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus, the third angel points to another class against whose errors a solemn and tearful warning is uttered. So it points out to doctrinal issue. Whose errors? Now let us read again the statement. Point to another class against whose errors a solemn and fearful warning is uttered. If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Revelation 14 verse 9 and 10. A correct interpretation of the symbols employed is necessary to an understanding of this message. What is represented by the beast? What is represented by the image? And also, what is represented by the mark? So here there are three mentioned: the beast, the image, the mark. And then it says, the line of prophecy in which these symbols are found begins with Revelation chapter 12. Great Controversy, page 438. So concerning the third angel's message, the line of the symbolization, brothers and sisters, in the message of the third angel begins on Revelation chapter 12. Now, I would like to read first 2 SR on page 76. It says, John's vision in the 12th chapter of Revelation deals with two main subjects, namely the woman clothed with the sun and the red dragon. So concerning Revelation chapter 12, there are only two main subjects: the woman which is clothed with the sun and the red dragon. So, that is the two main subjects in Revelation chapter 12. And according to the Great Controversy, page 438, that concerning the symbolization of the message of the third angel, the line of that prophecy begins on chapter 12 of Revelation. And Revelation chapter 12 contains two main subjects: the woman which is clothed with the sun, and secondly, the red dragon. So when we'll be studying the beast revelation, brothers and sisters, the red dragon is a part of the message of the third angel. And since we read several times in 2TG number 12, page 30, that the seventh angel contained 15 chapters long, and in track 15, page 10, beginning on chapter 8, therefore chapter 12 is a part of the seventh seal, by which the seventh seal is concerned the living, 2SR 202. And that is the reason why, according to 2TG 1230, saying, moreover, the revelation is to be more fully understood during the judgment of the living, or the complete unfoldment of the book of Revelation must be in the judgment for the living. And the Jefferson says in tract number 15, page 35, saying, having now gone through these preliminaries, the student of advancing truth should be ready understandingly to study the revelation of the things which are to prepare the way and enable him wholeheartedly to know that now the time is at hand, that a knowledge of the revelation will enable him to stand in the great and dreadful day of the Lord. So the only way that we could be able to stand when the great and dreadful day of the Lord begins is to have a complete understanding concerning the book of Revelation. Now, we explained several times, brethren, that the book of Revelation is very plain. In Revelation 13, on verse 8, saying, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. The pronoun him, although it refers to the leopard-like beast, we already studied that beast represent system. Now, let us now study closely what system represented by the leopard-like beast. But the absolute fact is that Revelation 13 verse 8 declared clearly, saying, and all without any exemption, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Or in other words, there will be fallen victims with such system. Who are they? Whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So, once our names are not found in the Lamb's book of life, there is no way of escape. The only way that we could be able to escape such oncoming, such satanic or complete satanic scheme is to have our names written in the Lamb's book of life. Therefore, Revelation 13 verse 8 must be applied to the time when all the names of the wicked are completely blotted out in the Lamb's book of life. That such system represented by the leopard-like beast, brothers and sisters, will be employed by the devil. And all of them whose names are not found written in the Lamb's book of life, without any exemption, all of them will be deceived with such system that will be employed by the devil. I remember the statement in 2SR, brethren. I would like to read this reading. In 2SR page 121. Let me read to you. It says, 2SR 121 and 122. Millions, you see the number? Millions with strong mental faculties. So, they were not ordinary men because they have strong mental faculties. Millions with strong mental faculties, men who appear as giants among the inhabitants of the earth, that is giants in intellect, have fallen helpless victims in her trap. You see, it says, have fallen helpless victims in her trap. So, our worldly wisdom, I remember the statement in 2SR saying that our worldly wisdom, brothers and sisters, is black as darkness. It says, 263 on 2SR, your human wisdom and worldly knowledge will prove to be as black as darkness itself. If you should allow the wily fool to rob you of the celestial bliss that should be yours throughout the ceaseless ages of eternity. So our human wisdom, even we will be gifted with strong mental faculties, worldly knowledge, as long as our names will not be found written in the Lamb's Book of Life, we will be fallen helpless as victims of the traps of the devil. Brothers and sisters, according to the voice of inspiration. Therefore, to have such an absolute protection is to have our names written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And that is why, brothers and sisters, the Sri Prasad says that to have this most blessed assurance, White House Recruiter on page 11, it says, what is of first and supreme importance to each, however, is to know for a surety that his name is written in the book. That is the first and supreme importance to each of us individually. To ascertain clearly, to know for a surety that our name is written in the book. To have this most blessed assurance, one must first know what will keep one's name out of the book and what will put it in. I would like to declare, brothers and sisters, what act by which our names will be blotted out in the Lamb's Book of Life, or our names will never be written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Rejection of present truth. And what will put it in? Acceptance of present truth. Now, let us proceed, brothers and sisters, to our study. We already read in the Bible, in Revelation 19, verse 20. Let us read again. Revelation 19, verse 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. It says, who are they that have been deceived by the miracles performed by the false prophet? Those who already received the mark of the beast, those who already worship his image. That is very plain in the Bible. That had received the mark of the beast. That had worshipped his image. Now, let us now, one by one, carefully study, brothers and sisters, such subject concerning what is represented by the beast what is represented by the image and what is represented by the mark and what is represented by the number of his name. Now, let us now gradually decipher this very important subject. Now, I would like to read the Great Controversy. Great Controversy, page 443. It says, the Great Controversy, page 443. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, that is found in Revelation 13, right? I would like to read Revelation 13. So, it says here, verse 14, Revelation 13, verse 14, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. Now, the earth mentioned here cannot be the literal earth. It could not be the literal earth, brothers and sisters, because the voice of inspiration is plainly telling that, I would like to read track number 12, page 28. Track number 12, page 28. So, let us read the statement given by page 29 rather. Track number 12, page 29. In the outworking of this drastic and unrighteous decree, there are three outstanding aspects. The first warningly reveals the manner in which the beast will compel all the nations and peoples within his dominion to worship him and the image which he shall make. So what is the dominion of the two-horned beast? Local system. So the all nations is pointing to the 50 states of the United States of America. So let us read again the statement in 2SR. Why is it that it has only two horns? It says, 2SR page 86, as they are absent from the beast of Revelation 13, 11 to 18, it verifies the fact that the two-horned beast denotes a local system. So that is local system. So the earth mentioned in Revelation 13, 14, pointing to the symbolical earth. And that is very plain in track number 8, right? Because saying, hurt not the earth. Revelation 7 verse 3. And according to track number 8, earth represents the two-horned beast domain. Track number 8, page 24. It says, it is located to John in the symbol of the two-horned beast coming up not out of the sea but out of the earth. Revelation 13:11, the only place where trees naturally grow. So, the earth mentioned here is pointing only to the United States of America. The two-horned beast dominion, the new world, the earth. And in Great Controversy, page 440, it says, what nation of the new world was in 1798, 440, Great Controversy, what nation of the new world was in 1798 rising into power, giving promise of strength and greatness? It says, and attracting the attention of the world. The application of the symbol admits of no question. One nation and only one meets the specifications of this prophecy. It points unmistakably to the United States of America. So that is very plain. It points unmistakably to the United States of America, the symbolical earth. Now let us read again the statement, the Great Controversy, 443. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. But who are they that will agree with such proposals? Brothers and sisters, all of them whose names are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Revelation 13 verse 8. So, that is very plain. And it says, here is clearly presented a form of government in which the legislative power rests with the people. So that is only pointing to the United States of America. A most striking evidence that the United States is the nation denoted in the prophecy. Then it says, but what is the image to the beast? And how is it to be formed? So there are two questions. But what is the image to the beast? And how is it to be formed? Then it says, the image is made by the two-horned beast and is an image to the beast. It is also called an image of the beast. Then to learn what the image is like and how it is to be formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. The Great Controversy, page 443. Now let us first establish such divine principle. That the image to the beast, the image of the beast, is made by the two-horned beast. Who made it? The two-horned beast. So, that is very plain. I would like to repeat again. The image to the beast and the image of the beast, these two systems, because beasts represent systems. The image to the beast and the image of the beast, these two systems is made by the two-horned beast. So, we already read, brothers and sisters, that the two-horned beast represents the United States of America. So, it's easy to understand. The image to the beast and the image of the beast is formed and made in the United States of America by the United States of America. So that is very plain. Now, and this for prophecy says, then to learn what the image is like, brothers and sisters, whether it is image to the beast, whether it is image of the beast, it says, and how it is to be formed, we must study the characteristics of the beast itself, the papacy. The Great Controversy, page 443. I need to be very careful of this subject because it is very timely and this prophecy is fulfilling in our days. Now, I would like to read the story of redemption. Let me read to you. The story of redemption on page 300. Let's read. 381. The beast and its image. So, story of redemption 381. The beast and its image. By this first beast is represented the Roman Church. What beast was represented by the Roman Catholic Church? I would like to read first 2SR. 2SR page 151. It says, the idea that the papacy is called the beast is altogether wrong. The papacy is represented by symbols on two different beasts. First, on the nondescript beast of Daniel 7, by the little horn, having eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Second, on the leopard-like of Revelation 13, by the head that was wounded to death. These beasts are universal, representing the entire world in their time, both civil and religious. Therefore, it could not be said of either beast. Brothers and sisters. So, it could not be. So, in the four beasts in Daniel chapter 7, in this reading, in 2SR 151, there is no representation of the Roman Catholic Church except the little horn head. So the entire nondescript beast cannot be represented by the Roman Catholic Church. Therefore, the nondescript beast cannot be the Roman Catholic Church. The leopard-like beast cannot be the Roman Catholic Church. Because in the leopard-like beast, the Roman Catholic Church is represented only by one of the seven heads, which is wounded. So the wounded head on the leopard-like beast represent the papacy or the Roman Catholic Church. Now, what beast represented here in Story of Redemption 381, which is represented by the Roman Catholic Church? The beast that ascend in the bottomless pit. In Revelation chapter 11, right? So, here in the great controversy, the great controversy, 266. So, I would like to read. The great controversy, page 266, it says, the periods here mentioned, 40 and 2 months, and 1,203 days, are the same, alike representing the time in which the Church of Christ was to suffer oppression from Rome. The 1,260 years of papal supremacy began in AD 538 and would terminate in 1798. At that time, a French army entered Rome and made the Pope a prisoner, and he died in exile. So here, brothers and sisters, the commentary given by the great controversy concerning Revelation 11, verse 2 to 11, was pointing to verse 7 and 8, and the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit is pointing to the Roman Catholic Church. So concerning the statement in Story of Redemption, the beast mentioned here is the beast that ascend in the bottomless pit, by which the shepherd's rod plainly told us here in 2TG, number 15, page 11, it says, now weigh me ask, who is the beast of the bottomless pit? If the star that came from heaven and opened the pit is Christ, and if the locusts that came out of the pit are the Christians, then there is no way of escaping the conclusion that the beast which came out of the bottomless pit is symbolical of Christendom. Thus it is that the Lord was crucified there. And it was primarily applied during the Dark Ages, by which the shepherd's rod called it apostate Christendom. Here in 2SR page 157, it says, 2SR 157, said the angel, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Revelation 17:9. It has been previously explained that the heads represent the present-day apostate Christendom. So it is the apostate Christendom. So the beast represent apostate Christendom. Now let's go back to A Story of Redemption, page 381. By this first beast is represented the Roman Church, an ecclesiastical body clothed with civil power, having authority to punish all dissenters. The image to the beast represents another religious body clothed with similar powers. What is the image to the beast? Religious body. Another religious body. And it says here, which is clothed with similar powers. The formation of this image is the work of that beast, whose peaceful rites and mild professions rendered it so striking a symbol of the United States. So where the image to the beast will be formed? In the United States of America. But it says that, brothers and sisters, the image to the beast points to another religious body. Now, I would like to read, I think, the great controversy. Let us read the statement. The great controversy on page 444, it says, Charles Beecher, in a sermon in the year 1846, declared that the ministry of the evangelical Protestant denominations is not only formed all the way up under a tremendous pressure of merely human fear, but they live and move and breathe in a state of things radically corrupt and appealing every hour to every baser element of their nature to hush of the truth and bow the knee to the power of apostasy. So the statement, another religious body, it points out to the evangelical Protestant denominations in the United States of America. It says, was not this the way things went with Rome? Are we not living her life over again? And what do we see just ahead? Another General Council, a World's Convention, Evangelical Alliance, and Universal Creed. Now let us go back to Story of Redemption, page 381. It says, the image to the beast represents another religious body clothed with similar powers. So there is no doubt, as far as the voice of inspiration is thus concerned, this religious body is the evangelical Protestant churches in the United States of America. That is the image to the beast. The beast that ascend in the bottomless pit. Then it says, the formation of this image is the work of that beast, whose peaceful rise and mild professions render it so striking a symbol of the United States. Here is to be found an image of the papacy. When the churches of our land, uniting upon such points of faith as are held by them in common, shall influence the state to enforce their decrees and sustain their institutions, then will Protestant America have formed an image of the Roman hierarchy. Then the true church will be assailed by persecution as were God's ancient people. But we already read, brothers and sisters, in Volume 5, 452, that the Sunday movement are canceling the true issue. The Sunday movement is the image to the beast, pointing to the evangelical churches in the United States of America. Now, let us focus, brothers and sisters, to the image of the beast. Which will come first? The image to the beast or the image of the beast? The same with the question, which will come first? Brothers and sisters, the golden image in Daniel chapter 3 or the great image in Daniel chapter 2? What is the great image in Daniel chapter 2? Symbolical prophecy, or also can be called in tract number 12, page 4, pictorial prophecy. But Daniel chapter 3 is a typological prophecy. typological prophecy. Now, let us go back again to track number 12. So, let us go to track number 12, page 28 and 29. So, let us read again. Track number 12, page 28 and then page 29. A full realization of the glorious reward that awaits mankind will even now compel men to shout for joy. An alike realization of the dreadful penalty that awaits all who fail to make God their refuge will cause them even now to weep and gnash their teeth. That all might realistically see these alternative prospects and be impelled thereby to repentance. The Lord has been at supreme pains not only to record a graphic description of the evil which through the instrumentality of the beast, Satan has determined upon the whole world, but also aforehand to make of a similar evil a perfect type of the image of the beast. And then the quotation is Daniel 3 verse 1 or Daniel chapter 3. So what is Daniel chapter 3? The golden image represent the image of the beast. How about the great image? The great image is also called image of the beast. So, the subject, image of the beast, brothers and sisters, is very broad. Right? Because the great image, now I would like to read to you. 1 SR page 211. SR page 211. So let's read the statement. 1 SR page 211. For the first time, these 10 kings represent the 10 horns are brought to our attention by the scriptures found in Daniel 2 verse 41 and 42, represented by the 10 toes on the great image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. So when we talk about Daniel 2, it is called great image. When we'll be talking about Daniel 3, golden image. Now, let's read again. It says, for the first time, these 10 kings' horns are brought to our attention by the scriptures found in Daniel 2 verse 41 and 42, represented by the 10 toes on the great image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. After revealing to the king the end of his golden empire, represented by the head of gold, and down through the stream of time to the second coming of Christ, Daniel says, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. Daniel chapter 2 verse 44. Now, let us go to the next paragraph. It says, if the 10 horns of this beast represents the kings now in existence, at which time shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, quoting the words of Daniel, then the beast himself represents the period following Rome as the breaking down of the Roman Empire brought about the existence of these kings. It is also being termed Rome in her broken state, symbolized by the great image of Daniel 2 verse 42. The feet and toes which were composed of iron and clay. Iron is the metal which represents Rome, the clay, the broken part. So, 1 SR 211. So here, brothers and sisters, Rome, in Daniel chapter 2, Rome is divided into two, iron and clay. So, the iron represent Rome, and the clay is the broken part of Rome. Brothers and sisters, and what is that broken part of Rome? Which is represented by the clay. It is the same in the subject, the beast and its image. Brothers and sisters, Rome in Revelation 11 verse 7 and 8 represents the beast, which is the iron. And the clay represents the image of that beast that ascend in the bottomless pit. And the voice of inspiration says that Rome in her broken state represent the great image in Daniel chapter 2. Now, I would like to read another statement here, brothers and sisters, in 2 SR. I need to establish first all the divine principles so that there will be no more difficulty in understanding of this entire subject. In 2 SR page 41, it says, 2 SR page 41, Rome the fifth, pointing to a universal empire. Rome the fifth. So the fifth universal empire is Rome. The broken state of Rome, symbolized by the feet and toes of the great image of Daniel 2, which is the present unstable civilization, is the sixth. So, the sixth universal empire represent the broken state of Rome. Now, let us read the statement here in 2 SR. Let me see. It says here, 2 SR on page, first on 118. 2 SR page 118. So, let's read the statement given by the voice of inspiration. Let me see. So it says here, brothers and sisters, as it has reference, it is concerning Revelation 17 verse 10, saying, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and the one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So it says here, as it has reference to the entire world's history under sin, we must consider the number of universal empires or periods since the world began. There is one before the flood, as previously explained. That is the antediluvian world. The second is Babylon. The third, Medo-Persia. Fourth, Grecia. The fifth is the Roman monarchy. These five are fallen. Then it says, the one that is the present civilization since the fall of Rome, under the symbol of the leopard-like and the scarlet-colored beast, to the commencement of the millennium, which period is termed Rome in her broken state, represented by the feet and toes of the great image of Daniel 2. 2SR page 118. So, now let us now enumerate one by one, brothers and sisters. What is Rome in her broken state? Brothers and sisters, Rome in her broken state in Daniel chapter 2, which is the great image, represented by the iron and the clay. The iron and the clay. And the clay is the broken part. According to 1SR, right? Let's read again in 1SR page 211. 1SR 211. It is also being termed Rome in her broken state, symbolized by the great image of Daniel 2 verse 42. The feet and toes, of which are composed of iron and clay. Iron is the metal which represents Rome. The clay, the broken part. Now, I would like to, because Rome mentioned here is no longer pointing to pagan and papal Rome. Because if you will connect to SR 118, it says, these five are fallen. There are 7 kings. 5 are fallen. And what is the 5th one? The nondescript beast, represented by the 2 legs of iron. Pagan and papal Rome in Daniel chapter 2. Brothers and sisters. So, the 10 toes of the 2 feet could no longer be represented by pagan and papal Rome, but pointing to the last period of the exceeding great horn. So, the iron, I would like to try to make this study even more easier before we read many passages. The iron represent, brothers and sisters, to those churches that had been conquered already by Rome. Now, since we are studying, brothers and sisters, the great image, which the perfect fulfillment must be in the United States of America. So the iron part, represented by Rome, is the evangelical church, and the clay, broken part, those churches, which is, in reality, they were already under the Roman jurisdiction, but it is broken. Not fully united, brothers and sisters. Unlike with the evangelical church, represented by iron. I would like to read first the statement in track number 12. Here in track number 12, on page 11. Track number 12, page 11. I would like to read first first before page 11, I would like to read track number 12, page 22. Page 22 first. It says, furthermore, this symbolization shows that inspiration reckons the Protestant world is still a Roman world. You see, brothers and sisters, track number 12, page 22. The Protestant America, in reality, is still a Roman world. Because it is predicted beforehand that the lost power of the papal supremacy in the old world, it will regain again in the United States of America. Now, let us read again the statement here in The Great Controversy 574. It says, in the movements now in progress in the United States to secure for the institutions and usages of the church the support of the state, Protestants are following in the steps of papists. Brethren, Europe never been called Protestant world. Europe is called by inspiration as the Catholic lands of Europe. So let us read Prophets and Kings first. It says, the Catholic lands of Europe. That is the statement given by the prophet, I think, in Prophets and Kings. It says, the Catholic lands of Europe. Find out that statement. Prophets and Kings on page, I forget the page, 188. It says here, in Hidden Africa, in the Catholic lands of Europe. So, Europe never been called as the Protestant world. Only United States of America is called, I think there is a statement, Protestant America, in the writings of B.T. Hunter. It says, in the movements now in progress in the United States to secure for the institution and usages of the church the support of the state, Protestants are following in the steps of papists. And it says, nay, more, they are opening the door for the papacy to regain in Protestant America. Where does the papacy? What is papacy? Papacy, brothers and sisters, is a system. Papacy is a system. So it says here that the door for the papacy to regain in Protestant America the supremacy which she has lost in the old world. Here you can read in The Great Controversy, the covenant made by the Pilgrim Fathers and the founding fathers of the United States of America. In The Great Controversy, page 500, 63. And it says, liberty of conscience threatened. Great Controversy 563. Liberty of conscience threatened. Romanism is now regarded by Protestants with far greater favor than in former years. In those countries where Catholicism is not in the ascendancy, and the papists are taking a conciliatory course in order to gain influence, there is an increasing indifference concerning the doctrines that separate the Reformed churches from the papal hierarchy. The opinion is gaining ground that after all, we do not differ so widely upon vital points as has been supposed, and that a little concession on our part will bring us into a better understanding with Rome. The time was when Protestants placed a high value upon the liberty of conscience which had been so dearly purchased. They thought their children to abhor papery and held that to seek harmony with Rome would be disloyalty to God. But how widely different are the sentiments now expressed. If you believe the Bible, Apostle Paul made it so plain in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that when this man of sin will be established, it will continue up to the visible coming of Jesus Christ. What does it mean? There is no record in the Bible that the papacy will repent. Or in other words, there is no record in the Bible that the papacy will become the instruments of God. Or, brothers and sisters, from the time it did exist, up to the general cause of provision, up to the second visible coming of Jesus Christ, the papacy will forever remain as the instruments of the devil. The Great Controversy declared clearly that Pope is the representative of Satan. I would like to read you. The Great Controversy, page 50. To secure worldly gains and honors, the church was led to seek the favor and support of the great men of earth, and having thus rejected Christ, she was induced to yield allegiance to the representative of Satan, the Bishop of Rome. Brothers and sisters, who is the representative of Satan? That is the Bishop of Rome. That is very plain, brothers and sisters. And the shepherd's rod plainly told us. I would like to read on 2SR. Let's read 2SR, the statement here. Here in 2SR, page 153. It says, mark carefully, according to the following testimony, the destruction of the papacy is at another time and by a different process. Paul states plainly that the man of sin will continue until the second advent. To the very close of time, he will carry forward his work of deception. The Great Controversy, page 579. So from the time that the man of sin did exist, brothers and sisters, it will continue down to the end to deceive God's people. There is no such prediction that the papacy, which was established during the Dark Ages, will repent and become instruments of God. The Bible cannot lie. Apostle Paul says that the mystery of iniquity will continue down to the end. And because of that declaration of the Bible, brothers and sisters, the Pilgrim Fathers
the founding fathers of the United States of America understood completely that papacy is the representatives of Satan, and they made a covenant to their children and children of children that to allow the papacy to enter into the United States of America is disloyalty to God. And the very first time by which Pope had been able to visit United States of America, that was October 4. Brothers and sisters, 1965. Let us look at the historical event. October 4, 1965. The first papal visit to the United States occurred in October 4, 1965. You see, brothers and sisters? Now, there must be a spiritual side. Brothers and sisters, why is it that the Pope had been able to enter United States of America in 1965? The only answer that can be given is, it must be found in the prophecy. And we will discuss it one by one. What is the principal reason? Why is it that the Pope had been able to visit United States of America in 1965? But as far as the history is thus concerned, it was in 1948 that the Pope desired to visit United States of America, but he could not enter in. Why is it that he could not enter in 1948? In 1929, we know that the power of the Pope had been restored by Mussolini in February 11, 1929. But why is it that he has a hard time and he could not enter United States of America? Not until 1965. But the proposals commenced in 1948. But they could not enter in. So there must be a spiritual side, brothers and sisters. Now let us focus again. When does, for me it is a prophecy. Track number 12, page 22. Saying, furthermore, this symbolization shows that inspiration reckons the Protestant world still a Roman world. But the question is, when does Protestant America became a Roman world? I would like to read first to SR. Here in 2SR page 100, let me see, 129. It says, the horn reveals that which the beast fails to do. So, what the horn reveals, that which the beast fails to do. Or, I would like to elaborate more the statement. The beast revelation cometh from God. The beast revelation cometh from God. But that prediction that the lost power of the papal supremacy in the old world will be regained in the United States of America, it was not revealed through the beast revelation on Daniel chapter 7. So that statement, the horn reveals that which the beast fails to do. Or in other words, you cannot find such revelation. How does the papal supremacy that had been lost in the old world will be regained in the United States of America? Such information cannot be found on Daniel chapter 7, but only on Daniel chapter 8, concerning the exceeding great horn of the he-goat. Now let us read 2SR 129. The horn reveals that which the beast fails to do. As Medo-Persia and Grecia are each represented by the two symbols, Medo-Persia first by the ram and second by the bear, and Grecia first by the goat and second by the four-headed leopard beast. So Rome was represented first by the exceeding great horn on the goat, and second by the nondescript beast. The first stage of the fourth beast represents imperial Rome, but the second stage, after his three horns had been plucked, describes papal Rome. See pages 56 and 59. The beast representing imperial Rome does not give much information regarding the Roman form of government, but that which is not revealed by the beast is made known by the goat's great horn. Therefore, we must consider the great horn's power and conduct. Or in other words, it is saying, brothers and sisters, that the beast representing imperial Rome does not give, or the nondescript beast, which is representing first imperial Rome and also papal Rome on the second stage, does not give much information regarding the Roman form of government to be established in the United States of America. Because the Roman form of government that had been established in the old world, it was revealed by the nondescript beast. For example, I would like to read here in 2SR. It says here, 2SR page 56. Daniel chapter 7, the nondescript beast, Daniel 7 verse 7. So this is Daniel chapter 7. So, I would like to read. We shall now consider its government administration. The crucifixion of Christ and the martyrdom of the Christians give evidence that the Roman executive authority was vested in paganism, which was at war with Christianity. As these Christians were put to death for refusal to worship the gods of the people, it is obvious that the Jews used the civil arm of Rome to try and enforce their own religious customs. Jesus being an example, for he was crucified as a result of religious controversy. Rome in the first century persecuted the Christians, but after adopting Christianity, that is during the Dark Ages, in 321 AD, but after adopting Christianity, she ill-treated the pagans, compelling them to join the so-called Christian church. From the evidence gathered, it is plain to see that the Roman monarchy was a tool for either pagan, Jew, or Christian, alternating in favor of one and then of the other. Inasmuch as the character of the imperial Roman jurisdiction could not be defined as pagan, Jewish, or Christian, nondescript is the only fitting symbol. It is said of Constantine at his death that his subjects knew not what kind of burial to give him, since he was a professed Christian but at heart a pagan. Perhaps many nations, as well as some professed Christians, at this present time are nondescript like the Romans, for the apostle has described their condition thusly. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3 and 4. So 2SR page 56 plainly indicating that through the nondescript beast, completely portrayed the two periods of the Roman Empire, pagan and papal. Right? Daniel 7. 10 horns, then 3 had been plucked up, then another little horn. Therefore, the Roman form of government mentioned here, by which the nondescript beast in Daniel 7 fails to do or give no information. You cannot find any information in Daniel 7 concerning the Roman form of government to be established in the two-horned beast domain or to be established in the United States of America. The only place by which predicted beforehand that the lost power of the papal supremacy will be regained is in the Protestant America. And it is revealed through the exceeding great horn, according to this reading in 2SR, page 129. So, by studying the exceeding great horn, then we can easily understand, brothers and sisters, the form of the Roman government that is established in the United States of America, which is illustrated in the great image of Daniel chapter 2 as iron and clay. The iron is the Roman form of government in the United States of America, which is well established, represented by iron, strong metal, but the other Roman form of government is represented by clay, broken part, brothers and sisters. Which is most dangerous? Is it the iron or is it the clay? Brothers and sisters, the broken part. So we need to study closely, brothers and sisters. And here's another statement in track number 12, page 11, and we'll continue to our next episode. It says, the great image of Daniel 2, page 10. It says, the great image of Daniel 2. It says, plainly the four metals of the great image symbolize, as do the four beasts, a succession of four kings in their respective periods. The feet, right and left, of iron and clay, obviously represent two divisions of kings, rightist and leftist. So, brothers and sisters, the Roman form of government in the United States of America is illustrated by iron and clay. But the iron and clay is also divided into two. There is iron which is rightist, and there is iron which is leftist. There is clay which is rightist, and there is clay which is leftist, according to this reading. So we need to distinctly separate the iron represented by the rightist, and the iron represented by the leftist, and the clay represented by the rightist, and the clay represented by the leftist. It says, the time in which the God of heaven shall set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. Who will set up the kingdom? Jesus Christ. And brothers and sisters, the illustration of the great image is lying. But at the time when the great image stand, that is in the judgment that pertains to the living. At the time when Jesus Christ visits the earth to establish the kingdom. Brothers and sisters, why? Why Jesus Christ need to establish the kingdom, the stone kingdom? Because the great image is already standing. And at the time when the great image is standing, then the stone cut out without hands of the mountains will break the image completely, brothers and sisters. So, we know that that is successive periods of time. in the days of King Nebuchadnezzar, the two arms are not yet in existence, Medo Persia. So, the great image is a period of time. Until all the specification of the great image is completely in existence, then that is the time that the great image will stand. But at the time that the great image will stand, that is also the time by which the Son of the living God, Jesus Christ, will establish the kingdom, the stone kingdom, to destroy the great image that's standing, which is represented also by antitypical Goliath. According to track number 8. But we will continue our subject on our next episode. So I would like to read to you here in track number 8. Let us read the statement. Track number 8. On page 58. David's victory over the giant against whom no one was able to make war typifies the victory of the church, the house of David. So, the house of David, that is the 8th church in the New Testament success. Zechariah 12 verse 8. In the time of trouble such as never was, over the beast and his image, antitypical Goliath. Track number 8, page 58. So, we will continue this subject, brothers and sisters, on our next episode. And hoping you will abide listening and viewing this program, because we will gradually decipher this very important subject in a more detailed manner, so that we could be able to comprehend completely both the traps of the devil, to completely uncovers the traps of the devil, and at the same time, to reveal the entire plan of redemption. Thank you very much for listening and viewing this program. May the good Lord bless you and have a beautiful, wonderful evening.